even though this is an Alabama show, funny enough, I'm going to start the show with something that's not Alabama related, because about 12:30 today, we got some breaking news, and that was that Bruce Pearl was going to be stepping down and that Stephen Pearl was going to be stepping in as the head coach at Auburn basketball. This is some news for anybody who's been following this pretty closely. I think a lot of fans that follow it really closely knew it was a possibility. They knew that he had been kind of contemplating the Senate run. I think the most surprising thing to me is that in his video, he said he wasn't going to be running for Senate, right? For me, it wasn't even the fact that he was stepping down. It was the fact that he wasn't going to be running. What's kind of your thoughts on that? What have you heard, in the circles, I guess, so to speak?
Yeah, I kind of wish we had there was a camera reaction inside the media room today when that news broke, because we were all still up there working from post football stuff. So it was kind of funny, the first person that holds up the tweet, and then we're all like, whoa, because it's not unexpected. It has been floating around there, but the main reason has been, that he was going to run for Senate. So it is interesting. And I think, there's been lots of content on Twitter about it today from Auburn fans, understandably, and then also Alabama fans, because Bruce really did help elevate, the basketball in the state. And I wrote a story back when it was going to be the 1-2 game in February, I guess, in Tuscaloosa, kind of about how we got to this point of these two programs, being so good in basketball. And I think they did spur each other on. And so it's hard right now I think for most of us to imagine that Auburn will be as good under Stephen Pearl, just because he doesn't have any experience except under his dad. But then, his dad was a really successful coach in multiple places. So maybe he's learned a lot. I think Alabama fans are excited that Bruce has done because of what he's been able to do with Auburn basketball. But I think that it's interesting now to watch too, if Auburn's able to retain its whole roster, kind of how all that works out, because it is interesting timing that Bruce waited until right now, the day that practice starts. And, he could have ridden off into the sunset after a Final Four and said, this is it. But then, coaches do it. Nick Saban just retired on a random Wednesday, I'm pretty sure it was. So, some coaches like to do the whole retirement tour, and then some like to do it in their own timing. So I think the timing is a little interesting for Auburn. I wouldn't be super excited if I was an Auburn fan about the timing of it, but I don't think too many of them are too upset at him just because of what he was able to do for their program.
Yeah, and I think personally, my thought around the timing is, I think that the timing as much had to do with potentially him trying to set Steven up for success. Because I think Bruce knew, anybody that's followed that program for a long time knew that Steven was the eventual successor to Bruce. And I feel like by going through the whole offseason, he's fully, and again, school's already started. People have been enrolled in classes. Technically, yes, the transfer portal window is open, but some of Auburn's top players, Todd Pettiford, Keyshawn Hall, are making enough money that Auburn can still afford to pay them. It's not like somebody else is going to be able to step in this, soon into the season and be able to pay them. So, I feel like it was very strategic that it's not Steven competing against, Alabama and Indiana and Kentucky and all these fan bases that are trying to go after top talent on a even playing field. I think that Bruce intentionally made it an uneven playing field where Steven could kind of just step in. And it's, again, like you said, he's been very successful. He's going to be revered, and that's, he took him to 2 Final Fours. He's going to be revered on the Plains for a long time. I just thought that was very interesting. Like you said, it was just kind of a random Monday 12:30 drop of, oh, Bruce Pearl retired. and again, it was just very funny to me. Obviously, Jacob Pickle has made his, Twitter jokes about saying that this is going to be happening. And again, a lot of us kind of had heard of this. I think, like I said, I think the Senate piece was just a little bit more surprising one to me. But there was another piece